Welcome to the CBS Eye on Money show. It is Tuesday, April 26th. And through the magic of technology, although I'm on vacation this week, here is an episode. And yes, we'll have both episodes, both Tuesdays and Thursdays shows will be available because Mark and I are so dedicated to you, our wonderful community, that we work extra hard to not just repeat stuff that we've done when we're on vacation, to give you brand new stuff. Very happy about that.
As this runs, you may be dodging a rattlesnake or two.
I might be. I am going to the desert. I'm going to hike. I am going to bike. I cannot wait. When I was talking so we're going to see some friends first in Scottsdale, Mark, and I was complaining that it was very cold here, and she was like, "Oh, it dipped down to 80s."
Scottsdale gets cold. That's where I lived for 7 years. They see nights where it's high 20s, low 30s.
These are our friends who moved from New York City pre-pandemic for a job, and they just have this massive house. They were like, "You're not staying in a hotel. We have like a 3,000 square foot house that is like essentially unused. I mean, 3,000 extra square feet. So they have a 6,000 square foot house. I don't even know how big that is. It just seems massive to me. I don't know. It's like being in 5 apartments in New York."
Do they have like 5 kids?
They have 0 kids. They have 1 dog. It was just like the house that they got when he got a brand new job and the company relocated him and they rented for a little while. This is so great. It was like it was the end of 2018, beginning of 2019 when he started negotiating it. And they're like, "You should just buy this house." And they're like, "Well, we're renters." They're like, "Just buy it." Anyway, they ended up buying it in the beginning of 2019. So I can't even imagine what it's worth.
Do you know what they paid?
I think that it was for a 6,000 square foot house. I think it was like in the $700,000 or $800,000 range.
Oh my God, unbelievable! And Scottsdale is beautiful.
In Scottsdale, yeah. And they have like a pool. I don't know. It's like I'm staying at a resort before I go to a resort, which is pretty amazing. Anyway, I will hopefully be surviving any rattlesnake issues because there are lots of them there. And if you have rattlesnakes in your financial life, this is the program for you. See how I did that, Mark? See how I just kind of made that transition? If you've got a financial question, go to JillOnMoney.com, click the contact us button. That's what Katie did. Katie's on the line from North Carolina. Hey, Katie, how are you? What brings you to our airwaves today?
Hi, Jill. I am so excited to be here. I am a recent but enthusiastic listener. I listen to you daily while I get ready in the morning. And I'm coming in to basically do a check-in. We've had our financial situation change a lot in the last few years. And I'm really the first one in our sets of family who've done financial planning and want to make sure I'm thinking about this carefully and doing better kind of than what was done before us.
Fantastic. So tell us about yourself. How old are you?
Sure. I'm 34, work full-time, married to an awesome guy. We're just about to celebrate 10 years together. We've got 2 kids. One's in first grade and one's just about to finish daycare. So we are about to wrap up daycare payments, which is a huge life hurdle.
How old is your spouse?
He is 41.
And does he also work full-time?
Yes, he is a full-time teacher.
Okay. How much does he earn?
He is almost at his cap. Here in North Carolina, he's just at $70,000.
And how much do you earn, Katie?
That's changed a lot over the last few years, but I recently moved to a new position and my base is just over 140.
Like when you say it's changed, like how much were you making a couple of years ago?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I started out in nonprofit research work for the government mostly, and I fought really hard to get up around 80. After a couple of master's degrees and almost a decade of experience, that was where I was hanging out around and felt like I needed a change. So moved over to tech, pivoted over to tech officially in like 2018, 2019, and it's really changed our financial game.
That's awesome. Good for you. So tell us about retirement planning for you guys. So you are in a for-profit job now, and do you have a 401k?
Right. Yeah. So we've got a couple things. So I have a 401k that is just around 75K. I was doing pre-tax only until a couple years ago. So it's probably about half Roth and half pre-tax.
And your contributions are now half and half, or are you going 100% Roth
I'm
now?
100% Roth now. And this year is the first year I'm maxing out. So I always did the match. That was my goal early on. And then now I'm maxing out.
Awesome. Tell me about hubby for with the 70 grand. Is there a pension?
There is a pension in play, and that's pretty much the major benefit of being a teacher these days. A pension and insurance, medical insurance in retirement. I've estimated what I think his pension will be based on calculators, and it should be around $3,500 a month.
That's awesome. At what age would that happen?
After 30 years for him, so around 55.
Very nice. And does he also make contributions into a deferred comp, a 403B?
He did in one position. He's got about 10, 15K in there, but recently we've been more trying to max out the Roth IRAs each year. So that's where we've been focusing, but that might be something to explore with you if we should start doing that as well.
And you're maxing out, you're putting $6,000 each into your Roths now?
Yes, we are.
That's great. So you're doing the max. You're putting $20,500 into your Roth 401k. Then you're also putting $6,000 each into Roth IRAs.
Yes.
God dang it. You're doing a great job. That's fantastic.
We've got about 90K so far in our Roths between the two of us. So it felt like a couple of years ago we were not in great shapes, but we're getting there.
Oh my God, you're fantastic. This is great. You're so young still. Okay. So you also said, I just want to make sure. So this 403B, he's got 10 or 15. You've got about 75 grand in your 401k. It's about half and half right now, but it's going to start skewing more Roth, obviously, in the future. So that's great. Okay. Now, let's talk about the kiddies. So private or public school for the kids for the next, through high school? What do you think?
Public 100%.
Any college savings for them yet or not?
Yeah, we started 529s for them, and we have about 10,000 in my 7-year-olds and about 5,000 in our 5-year-olds. We paused on that a little bit to make sure we could max out our Roth IRAs. But now that's also something that we're looking at trying to potentially start giving towards. I feel like every parent says this, but our oldest is very talented with sports and already has scouts kind of talking to him. So
wait a minute. I love this. Hold on. What's the sport?
He is in golf tournaments and baseball at this point, but he's just actually pretty phenomenal. So we have a slight hope that he might get a scholarship for college. So we don't want to put all our eggs in the 529 basket.
Are those two different seasons?
Yes, arguably they are, but they both feel so very long.
All right. So that's a possibility. How about a house? You have a house in North Carolina?
We do. And it's growing exponentially, I feel like every month. But we have about a $400K mortgage that we bought it at the end of 2020. It was our forever home after our starter home. And it's worth about $630 now.
What's the mortgage interest rate?
2.87, 30-year.
That's fantastic. Okay. And you know why that's so great for everyone listening? Because right now, if you had a 15-year, yes, it would be great. You'll be done in 15 years. However, you wouldn't have free cash flow. So tell us, how is that cash flow? When you tell me about all this money you're contributing, what's left over right now?
Yeah, so it'll change again because we're shedding a daycare payment. But we typically, unless we run into like weird life emergencies, we have about $2,500 left over.
Every month?
Yeah.
And how much is daycare and when does it actually end?
June is when it ends. It's $1,100.
You're going to have $3,500 a month. And now we got to figure out what to do with it. Couple more questions, and then I'm going to let Mark ask you some questions. Do you guys have life insurance?
We do $1 million apiece term.
Great. Wills?
Yep, all taken care of. Power attorneys, all of that.
Fabulous. Mark, take over. What else do you want to know about these guys?
Any debt?
Yeah, so we have 3. No credit card, but I have graduate school debt left over, about $45K, and it is at All of our debt is right under 5% interest rate. So 45K for my student loans. We have 15K in one car loan left, which 3 years on that. And then recently we got a home equity line of credit to cover, we had needed new windows in our house after a few birds were flying in because our windows were open.
Uh-oh.
So we needed to pull the trigger on that. So we have that as well.
So how much is the HELOC? Meaning how much is it going to cost to do the new windows?
The windows are 27.
And so the only money that you have in cash is savings. That's your emergency reserve fund, right?
Yes. So we have 20,000 in there.
So it was grad school loan, car loan, and HELOC are the three loans,
Yes.
right? Okay. And all just about under, let's say, 5%. Let's call it 5% for now. Grad school loans, private or is it a federal loan?
Yeah. So I had a federal loan and I refinanced it a couple of years ago when my husband's loans weren't forgiven because no one's were. And I didn't believe, and that was when I was working in nonprofit. So I refinanced, they were at like 7 or 8%. So I refinanced it for 4.15 a couple years ago. So I guess they're private now.
Okay. So you're not under forgiveness. In other words, I'm sorry, you're not under forbearance, right?
No,
Okay. How much are you paying right now towards student loans?
only 300.
Not for long.
Not for long is right.
Do you guys have a brokerage account as well? I wanted to ask.
Oh, so that was one of the things I was going to open. I have one stock sitting in a brokerage account that I won't go into from a family thing, but I was going to look at purchasing index funds through like Vanguard or something like that as one of our next steps, but nothing yet.
I think that's in your future. But with $3,500 extra a month, boy, I would probably take like $2,000, $2,500 of that and really go after your debt. And then maybe with the another portion of it, you could start funding those 529s.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you got $3,500, maybe $3,600 a month, right? Tell me how you feel about this, Mark. So of that $3,500, $1,000 extra on the student loans. So now instead of $300 a month, you're going to pay $1,300 a month on the student loans. Okay. You're going to put an extra $1,000 down on your car loan. And then how much are we going to put into these kids? I'm really feeling excited about this kid who's going to get a golf scholarship, but I'm worried he won't. So how about $500 a month each into the kids' 529 plans?
And just remember, if he gets a scholarship, whatever he gets, say he gets a $20,000 scholarship, well, then you can take $20,000 out of that 529 penalty free.
That's right. And also you can roll it into the other kids, which is the other opportunity. So here's how I think the 3,500 goes. I'm thinking 1,000 to student loan, 1,000 to car loan, 1,000 to 529, and then 500 a month into your savings.
If you keep doing what you're doing in your current 401k, you keep maxing it out from this point on. I just threw in some numbers until you're 60. That's going to be worth probably like $800,000. And if you guys keep maxing out your Roths the way you're doing it at 60, that's going to be worth another $600,000 plus the pension. And once these loans are gone and all that stuff's paid off and you just redirect all that money into a brokerage account, you're going to be killing it.
Think about this. The car loan, how much are you paying on the car loan right now?
$500 a month.
Okay. So now think about this. If you put down an extra $1,000 on that car loan, it's gone in a year and a half, maybe a year. Okay. That's gone. Then you redirect that $1,000 into the student loan. So now in the student loan, instead of having $1,300 a month, you're going to put $2,300 a month down. I mean, honestly, this is better than doing an index fund, at least for the time being, simply because you're getting a guarantee of even if it's just a little bit, I think you said 4.15%. That's a guaranteed return. And you're going to shave so much time off of these student loans. And since it's a private loan already, you're not getting it forgiven. So let's just get rid of it. As time progresses and your cash flow is going to you're going to keep making money, by the way, then you open a brokerage account and you do your index funds. But let's get this debt. Let's attack this debt right now. I feel like this is like gone so quickly.
Okay. Yeah. Because I wasn't sure because I know the market, has higher returns than those percent. So that's why I was like, do I just keep paying minimums on this debt and then shove it more towards a brokerage account,
Well, it may, but it may not. It may go down. So think of it this way. Like, I cannot get you a guarantee for 15 months of a 4 or 5% return. I can't. It's impossible, right? We can do a 3-year CD and get you 1%. But like this is like easy. This is an easy decision. And then your new company, you said you get some stock from that every so often?
So I get guaranteed for the next 4 years at least $17K, but that doesn't include bonuses, which is a whole new world to me, but I think could be upwards of 10 to 30 a year.
Oh my God. So when you get those big chunks of money, you make sure you withhold the taxes. Okay. You have that cash, and then you do exactly what we've just described, which is you accelerate your debt pay down. And then when this is all done, I think this car loan, like when do you get bonuses?
Somewhere in the spring of 2023.
First of all, I think that it's possible the car loan is gone by then. Let's say it's not. And you have a chunk of money. All you're looking to do is have these 2 loans paid down and have a savings account that can float you for, let's say, 6 months of your living expenses. When that's done, that's when we open the brokerage account. It's going to grow. It's going to be unbelievable. I'm not that inclined for you guys to have your husband put tons of money into his 403B. I think you're better off building up a brokerage account for you in this situation. And then, of course, let's see how the things evolve for the 529 plans. You can always put more money in there than $500 a month. You can shift more money in there. But I like the flexibility that you will have. And man, this is you have a life-changing income by moving from one career to the next. It's been, I really think you guys have an incredible opportunity here.
It's also been a much happier life too. So not only more money, but it's been happier in a lot of ways.
So are you saying potentially that money does buy happiness?
No, but I don't work the crazy amount of hours that I used to. So that's, in a way, maybe it does by giving you more life flexibility. So
there you go. All right, Mark, that's the episode's name. Money can buy happiness sometimes. Any other questions for us, Katie?
I actually have one last one. So we actually have a financial advisor that we moved over to a couple years ago because I didn't know what I was doing. And she manages she manages our 529, Roth IRAs. And now I realized from listening to your show that this might be something I can do on my own and not rely, but it's kind of scary. Her commission is about 1.5%. I love her as a human, but I feel like your advice would be for me to try to move it back under myself and manage it on my own. So I wanted to check in on that.
Mark, would you like to give that advice?
My question is, how comfortable do you feel doing it on your own? Is this something that you want to do on your own?
I do within a couple years, I think. I feel like, both of us came from families where pensions existed and nothing else. So I feel like I'm just figuring all of this out on my own. And I really enjoy learning, but I don't even know where to begin. Well, I sort of know where to begin, but I don't know how to do that yet. So I had thought about if I open a brokerage account, that can be like my training wheels and then move from there. But maybe I'm freaking myself out too much and it's way easier than I had even imagined.
All right, let me say this. So maybe the easiest way to do this, you want your training wheels, is you go to Vanguard, you roll over these Roth IRAs into Vanguard, and you sign up for the Vanguard Personal Service Advisor. All right. You have to have a minimum of 50 grand. So you have that. You'll have 90, right? And then you'll get advice, but instead of paying, what did you say, 1.25%, 1.5%, it will drop to 0.3%. And then that will be your training wheels. And you'll have them help you with the process. And you will stop having someone manage your 529 plans, which is simply, I think, highway robbery in general. I think that for any advisor who says, I'm going to charge you to help manage a 529 plan, it's a pretty good indication to me that that person is not really that psyched about working in your best interest, even if they are CFPs. And I know there are people who do this. Yes, it's convenient, but it should be basically a convenience. It's like, oh, you know what? I can help you open these plans, but you don't need me to manage it. That should be the way that most advisors would handle it. It's the clue to me that you're not with the right place. That extra 1% will fall to your bottom line. It will be your money. And then you'll see how they manage it. And, you might say for 0.3%, it's worth it for me not to worry about it. And it might be that you're like, I could totally do this myself, but you can have a transition time.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you are like Katie, big change in your financial life, maybe a big jump in income or change in career, change in benefits, and this is the time to check in with us. And we love hearing from you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Don't forget to let us know whether you will come on the air. And remember, you can follow Eye on Money wherever you get your podcasts and sign up for our free weekly newsletter. Check it out. It is so easy to do. We love to talk to you. We love to hear from you. And we know you would love to hear from us every single Friday. Mark does this fantastic job with the newsletter. So I encourage you to check it out. Oh, yeah. Also follow our other broadcast. It's called Jill on Money, wherever you are following your favorite podcast. Okay. First of all, Mark Talercio, thank you very much. He is the co-host and the executive producer. We're distributed by CBS. We drop our episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. We ask you to lift someone up today and every day. Curiosity, compassion, community. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you on Thursday.